The second trial was called the civil trial. It's called the civil trial because this is now the trial before the Roman authorities. The other one was the ecclesiastical trial because it was a trial before the high priest. So, Pilate began the civil trial by correctly demanding a definite statement of the charges against Jesus. Pilate then went out unto them and said, What accusation bring ye against this man? Now, this was quite awkward for the Jews. This was awkward for the high priests and the leaders, because guess what? The Jews know, the religious leaders knew, the high priest knew that if they told Pilate that Jesus' conviction was for blasphemy, Pilate would likely overturn it. And if Pilate overturned it, they had nowhere to appeal to. So Jesus would live. And they wanted him dead. So they decided then, let's see if we can get Pilate to run a little kangaroo court session like we did. So let's try to just circumvent that. Let's run around it. Let's not deal with the real issue of it. We're not giving you no charge. So Pilate says to them, what is his charge? They don't answer. No, instead they say, we wouldn't come to you if he was not a criminal. We would never have brought him to you for you to pronounce death penalty on him if he wasn't a criminal. No, that don't answer the question, Mr. High Priest. Huh? St. John 18:30. Let's read it together. They answered and said unto him, if he were not a malefactor, we would not have delivered him up unto thee. If he were not a criminal. Some translations would say evildoer. If he were not a criminal, we would not have delivered him up to you. In other words, you need to just trust us. We say him is a criminal, he needs to die. Pilate says, no, not in this court. Pilate said, I tell you what, I'm not going to take this case. Because there's no case. Here, in other words, what did Pilate say to them? When they said, listen to me, if he was not criminal, we wouldn't bring him to you. Pilate said, well, fine. Well, you take him and judge him according to your laws. That makes sense, not true? If you are going to tell me that you found him to be well, you deal with him. But they would not do that. Why? Because if they dealt with him, they couldn't kill him. Because the law requires that the Roman authority confirms the death penalty. So, when Pilate said to them in St. John 18:31, take ye him and judge him according to your law. The Jews therefore said unto him, it is not lawful for us to put any man to death. That was their issue. Because even though under their law they had death penalty, that was when they had full self-governance. But now they were under the authority of the Roman Empire because they were conquered by the Romans. So they are now saying to Pilate, when Pilate says, well, you take him and judge him according to your law. They say, well, we have a problem because it's not lawful for us to put him to death. In other words, the only thing we want to do with him is kill him. We want him dead. So, to remedy this impasse, the Jews went about making up stories again. So they concocted 3 charges. Let's just read St. Luke 23:2 quickly. And they began to accuse him, saying, we found this fellow perverting the nation and forbidding to give tribute to Caesar, saying that he himself is Christ, a king. But they said, he's been perverting the nation, meaning he's trying to turn the nation away from the established rules and traditions and laws of the land, which would include turning them away from the laws that the Roman Empire have put in place. Then that wasn't enough. They said that he was forbidding that persons pay taxes to Caesar. Now, anybody remember when they tried to catch Jesus with that very thing? They went to him and said, hello, should we pay taxes to Caesar? And he took the coin from them. He said to them, he said, tell me whose face is on the coin, whose inscription is on the coin. And them said, Caesar. And said, well, give unto Caesar what is due unto Caesar, and unto God what is due unto God. Not true. So his teaching was, pay your taxes. The Jews did not like the idea of paying taxes to the Roman government. They went to him with that because they wanted to catch him. He said, give Caesar him taxes. And so the people come now and say, one of the charges is that him tell people that they mustn't pay taxes to Caesar. Then the third charge, they said, listen to me. He says that he is a king. No, that was not a lie. But what they presented was deceptive. Come on, talk to me. Let's try that again. That was not a lie, no. Jesus did say he is a king. He said he is the king. But sometimes persons, can take the truth and spin it and give a different impression. And that's deception, Do you remember on what we call Palm Sunday, the journey to Jerusalem? Do you remember that they wanted to crown him king? But again, he said no. So it means that the high priest and these religious leaders, they knew that he was not saying he was an earthly king. But when they presented it to Pilate, they weren't presenting it as if he was a spiritual king or a heavenly king, which is what they were upset about, by the way. They presented it to Pilate like he was saying, hello, I am king of the Jews in a natural sense. What that would mean? It would mean that he's saying that I am usurping the throne. In other words, Caesar is not your rightful king, I am. So in other words, what we find here is that all three charges would amount to what? Treason. If he's turning the people away from the laws of the land, that's treason. If he's forbidding persons, and you notice I say forbidding and not even encouraging. He's forbidding persons to pay taxes. That's treason. And then he's going to turn around and say, oh, by the way, and I am the king. No. When Pilate heard this triple charge of treason against Jesus, he decided to try Jesus privately.